You watch.
Right up from him.
Hey, you know.
Not even just here. On text.
Good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. This is a meeting of the Litchfield Recreation Commission. My name is Peter Ames. I'm chair of the committee, and we'll call the roll of members present. Vice Chair Andy Ruggles is delayed. Secretary Judy Brennan.
Present.
Mike Bosky.
Here.
Member Steve Weber.
Here.
Member Chris Burns is delayed, and member Jeff Town gave notice of his absence this evening. First order of business is approval of the April 11th, 2023 minutes. Have members had a chance to review those minutes?
Yes.
Going to get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Move in a second.
Second.
Move in a second. Is there further discussion on the minutes of April 11th? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay, and abstentions. Passes 3-0-1. All right, next we'll move to public input. We do have a couple members of the public on our agenda tonight, but wanted to invite anyone to make comment generally from the public. All right. Seeing no public input, we will close that at this time and jump into new business. So we have Mac McLeod here? Sorry. Mac McLeod, thank you. If you want to please step up and talk about your sophomore project proposal, please.
Want to hand out the papers? So Mac has dyspraxia and apraxia, so he has trouble talking.
Sure.
So he's going to be doing. He
Thank you.
Printed out some papers, and then he's going to be using text to talk.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
And then I'll be
Thank you.
if he needs any.
Very good.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone mind just stating the address for the record?
Sit down, Mac. Mac McClellan at 31 Chasebrook Circle. Sit down.
Very good. Welcome.
I know you're nervous. Sit down.
All right. While he's doing that, you want us to give a quick review of
Sure.
this, and we can. All right. So we'll give folks a couple minutes just to review.
So when they tell them when they're ready, then you can do your thing, okay?
I love this idea.
This is great.
I think it's cool. Oh,
Yeah, easy.
No worries.
All right, ready? You guys ready?
We are.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do it so you can look at me and taking over, sorry. Where's the... There it is. Okay, just hit play so they can hear.
Hello, my name is Mac McClelland. I am a freshman at Campbell High School, and I would like to make a community chessboard for the park for Litchfield as my sophomore project. I have a mentor that is willing to help me if I get the okay. My plan would be to do this summer, so people will have the ability to enjoy, learn, and teach chess while being outside. I hope that this will bring the community together and that people of all ages will enjoy it.
Good. Thank you.
If you have any questions or...
Yeah, I'll open up to questions. Well, first, just say thank you for bringing this proposal to us. So I'm a fan of chess myself and appreciate how meaningful it is. So I would welcome further opportunities for the community to have the opportunity to play chess. So thank you for bringing this to us. But I'll open up to the committee for questions for Mac.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I noticed you wrote Daraponder Mustard Field. The Mustard Field is run by the Conservation Commission, but something definitely that we can share with them, because I know they want to see that Mustard Field area used more, and it's been cleared, and there's been volunteers, and they're trying to level it, and I think that would be a really cool thing to have along the water
By
there.
the river? Yeah.
Where's
Uh,
Masterfield?
It's right
Right across from the old fire station.
Oh, that area, that's
Yeah.
a great spot for it.
Yeah.
There's already a couple Adirondack chairs, a picnic
Yeah,
table there,
and nobody has
everything.
stolen them. We replaced broken ones, but I think it's a great idea, and I think we're probably going to end up having people say, "Oh, can we get a few more?" It is kind of a cool thing for people to hang out and do, and it's really not age specific.
And more kids in the middle school are starting to play chess, I've learned.
Yes.
A lot of them are doing it online, playing against computer, playing against each other. So it's really having a comeback right now within the school system.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons he wanted to do it. Can I talk for you, or would that be okay? I know he's very nervous.
It's okay.
No need to be nervous here.
That was one of the things, we look online a lot. He does a lot of online chess, and a friend of ours was telling about in New York how you can go to Central Park and they have all the chess.
Yes.
And so that's when we decided that that might be a fun project. And maybe if this goes well, we were thinking maybe, for senior project kind
Yeah.
of thing as well.
Yeah.
Put more.
Having some more.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
I
I
do.
agree, yeah.
I don't know if you have a preference of where. I think the muster field, because it's open, it would be less subject to vandalism, where at Darapon with the playground, we have to keep an eye on it, where it's not so open, so it's hard to see what goes on in there. But that's not saying we wouldn't want it in there. But we're always doing walkthroughs, and there's spray painting, or there's things just getting misused. And I would hate to see something like that happen. Plus, I kind of like something out by the muster field, but it is not our.
No, it's not on the purview.
Our
it's on
park.
Yeah. But I think it'd be a great spot,
Conservation.
especially with, on a nice summer day, because you have so much shade down there. It'd be
Yeah.
a cooler spot. You're down by the water.
Right.
Right. No, I mean, I think that area, because not only is it, there's a lot of attractions for Dara, so people going to Dara for, use the playground and everything, but something they actually go use Muster Park for specifically,
Yeah.
as well as just sitting by the river, but you specifically go there and do it. It's almost like it would be a draw to that area,
Yeah.
which would be really cool.
I really think you're going to end up having people ask you to build more of them.
Ready for
I do. And what I can do for you is take your contact information. My husband is the chair of conservation,
Okay,
and have him get in contact with you.
okay.
But I see that as a great use of that field.
think
I
it's
think it would be a
fantastic.
really cool thing to have.
Maybe we could
in
do
town.
one for Dara and one for Muster, because I know
Yep.
that they're.
And then wouldn't have to deal with parking far away, like more at Dara, you park
Yeah.
further away.
I know one of
But-
his thoughts was, like when families are there to be with their kids playing sports.
Yep.
It'd also be something to do at Dara. It'd be something to do while
So would this be movable, or is it going to somehow be?
it would be put into the ground.
Put into
We
the
have-
ground.
We have a plan for rebar, right? So
Yep. Okay.
a piece of rebar would go from the top to the bottom, so it would not be able to be moved.
So have you walked around the park? Do you have an idea of where you would want it there?
Did you know, Mac? Did you want it by the lake, or did you want it by the playground?
I want it by the playground.
By the
Somewhere by the
playground.
playground. Okay. And have you walked through the muster field? That area? Do you know where? Well, you don't have to walk through it, but you can see it when you drive by.
It's where we've gone to have picnics. It's right across from the Frank's house.
I have seen it one time before,
Okay.
but I haven't even seen it since then.
You haven't seen it for a
You
while.
haven't seen it since then.
So I,
So about, I don't know, was it 3 weeks ago? A group of volunteers went in there and with a tractor and kind of leveled it out, removed all the bittersweet. And I think the seeding was done this weekend.
Jay was back there this
Yeah,
weekend.
he was with like grass, clover mix, whatever, to make it nice and green and level.
I know that there was a big study happening, so we weren't even sure if that was gonna be a possibility.
Oh, with
Yeah, we
the
had the
archaeological?
Archaeological, but it's really not much about the
No.
muster field. They've already found what they want. It's
Yeah.
more going further down for the outline of where the cemetery is, and they think there's a couple other house foundations.
Okay.
So they want to come in and actually do some sonar to look at it.
Okay. So we came to you for this because we have to get an approval
Yep.
in order for him to even submit it for something that he could possibly do.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve, the installation of the chessboard at, Royal Memorial Park.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
So it's just, I think it's just a matter of, before it's built, finding a
Placement.
location for it. But besides that, working with one of us to find a location for it in the park so that, it doesn't interfere with anything else, but it still is in a prominent
And a
area where
place
you can
that
get to.
will be used.
Yeah.
And I also highly suggest go to conservation and see that, because then you can always pick which one's better, or both, or one now and then one for a senior project.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I can
My only
take your
concern I have at Dara is kids climbing on top of it and
That-
standing and jumping off of
We have a problem
it.
that kids are
Yeah,
climbing
and I-
on the porta potties. We had to move the
Yeah.
porta potty near the parking area.
I'd
and I
hate to
would
see it
hate
get
to
broken
see it.
right after it's
Yeah,
made. But
broken
muster field, I
or
don't think you're gonna see a
spray
lot of that,
painted,
because there's
yeah.
less traffic going through there.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I'd propose that it would be in the, view of the camera.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be a DAR.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Further discussion?
Am I able to vote, or you have to, since I was late, you have to?
No, you can enter
Yeah,
this.
we publicly shamed you, so don't worry about it.
Sorry about that.
Well, Andy too.
Practice.
All right, seeing no further discussion, Randy's motion to approve Mac's project for the chessboard at Dara Pond. Can I, all affirmative say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Abstentions, passes 6-0-0.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mac, for bringing this to us.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank
So much. Great
This is
idea.
a great idea.
And then we'll just come back to get the okay of the placement.
Yes, please, that'd be
Okay.
fantastic.
All right, thank you so much.
And if you need any paperwork signed, just send it in to Peter and he can sign off on it.
Okay,
for the
all right,
sponsor, yeah.
thank you. And then I'll give you.
Yeah, if you put it right on here, then you can chat with him, and then you may have two places approving it, and then you
Awesome.
can
I'm gonna
pick.
write
But
Yeah.
I think
Great.
it's gonna end up happening is they're gonna be like, can we pay him to
Big
make a
multiples?
few more? I do, and I think that would be a really cool thing to have in town.
I think so.
Very creative. Great idea.
What do you say?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
We don't mean to be rude, but we have a lot going on after.
Oh, it's okay, no worries.
All right, thanks so much.
Good evening, be well.
I'm out,
Good night.
we got a quorum, I can go right now.
Bye. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so next we'll jump to the LPA, Cheryl Lang, to present on a couple items.
All right, here.
Cheryl Lang, 17 Mason Drive. So the Litchfield Pickleball Association is here to request some facility play time at Talent Hall and at the new pickleball courts.
Yep, I have those on the
Yeah.
agenda, and then the court rules of play.
Yeah, the policy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you have copies of them?
I do,
Or-
yeah. Is there a sequence in which?
Yeah, so we'll start with the court rules of play.
Oops, where did it go? What rules of play? So something along this line would be posted at the new pickleball courts on the fences, for policy play. Courts 1 through 4 was mostly the Litchfield Pickleball Association scheduling the members, and it would be scheduled playtime through Sign Up Genius. Courts 5 and 6 would be open to anybody, and Litchfield residents and their guests. And the policies are, they're pretty, did you want me to read through them, or?
No,
No,
I
okay.
don't think so.
No.
No.
Some of us may have had a chance to look through it, and some may not have.
And mostly it's to control when there's too many players, so that everybody understands that, you play 2 games, you let somebody
Right.
else play.
Yep.
and information on how to join the Pickleball Association if anybody would like to do a scheduled
Yeah,
play time.
I think that's important information to have there.
Yeah.
Someone did ask me, do you have an age, a minimum age, like, is it 14 or 16?
No, it's not something we've ever talked about either.
Okay.
Is that something we should consider? I don't know.
Well, I would
I mean,
think,
I guess it's up to you. I mean, it's
Yeah.
up to you. It's, I mean, it's, I think it's more of a question is like, is if like a teenager shows up and wants to play, can they join pickleball? Like, I think that's really where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think you're gonna see like 10-year-olds out
Right.
there. But I think like if, I mean, the interest is growing.
Right.
And if teenagers want to play, can they join, or is there an age? I think
Could a
I think that's
12-year-old
really where
join
it's come
LPA?
from.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
or maybe,
Yep.
you know, if they're a minor, it has to be with a parent
Yeah.
or type of thing.
Right, right.
Okay.
And
I
typically,
I really didn't know. I was like, I don't know, I'll have to ask.
and typically people play within their skill level too.
Right.
So if they're a new player, they'll want to play with a recreation group or,
I'm gonna sign my 5-year-old up.
Yeah.
Drop him off in town, please.
I'll pick them up in
Yeah.
4 hours.
There's a babysitter right there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Danger would love it.
Yeah, you would.
All right, so your request before us is related to set the policy and the signage on the courts, is that correct?
right.
Okay. So, just give folks one another minute just to review it all, then we can.
And then I should do this at the same time.
How fast is a game? Sorry. How fast is a game? Is it like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or?
It depends on the skill level. If you have a skilled group of people playing, it could last for a while because, you know, it's a good volley back and forth and you only score when you've served, so it could last a while.
Okay.
And then if you have somebody who the ball gets past, often the game's gonna,
So, 10 minutes to a half an hour? Or?
oh, yeah, probably 15 minutes, I'd say,
15,
yeah.
15 or 20 minutes. I don't know what it took us this weekend, but we were learning too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think, we have,
So where the, what LPA presented was more like, policy of play, and this one is more the rules of the court, like when it's open, soft-soled athletic shoes, we don't want cleats on there, we don't, you know, anything else, no glass bottles, so it's along the lines of there that it's a sign that I told Chris I would look into what other courts did in other towns and kind of research it, and some I felt too wordy, some too much information. So it kind of goes along with those signs, but a little different way, and I think I'd like to have on the bottom there our QR code, if the police phone number, emergency. But we don't have to approve this one tonight, you can look at it, we can do it next time, but just so you know, there's a more along the play lines, and this is about how you can use the court, or who.
We should look into getting number signs for the courts too, if we're
Yeah,
gonna be.
I agree.
Film is 1 through 4 and 5 and 6.
right,
Make it ADA proof.
It would be beneficial to also have the viewable sign-up genius. So if someone shows up, right, and courts 5 and 6 and want to be played, and they're like, oh, should we stop playing because we don't know if someone's coming down to use 1 through 4 scheduled, right? If it was there in a view-only mode, they could go to the website and say, oh, somebody has it from pickleball this time to this time.
right.
Well,
Just do a
pickleball is
QR
only
code for
gonna
that.
use courts 1 through 4.
Correct, I'm just saying, let's
Yeah,
say
but
5
how
and
are people
6 are
gonna
busy, 1,
Oh.
2, 3, 5 and 6 are busy, right? 4 is open. Someone doesn't want to start in 10 minutes, have to stop because somebody from pickleball has it reserved.
Right.
Right, it'd be a quick way to look and say, oh, yeah.
Right.
It's open for the next half hour, 45 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're gonna have some frustrated residents if they go to play.
Yeah.
LPA shows up and says, we have it reserved.
Well, the thing is, I'm looking at it as any of our other sport leagues. If people go down to one of the baseball fields and they want to go play kickball or baseball, and baseball has it reserved, and there's baseball games or practices going on, obviously they can't use it, but if they're not there, they can hop on there. But if a team has practice a half hour later, an hour later,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's why there was the idea to always keep 2 that couldn't be reserved, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, how are residents gonna know 5 and 6 are the only ones that are open? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, that, I do
It's
have
the
it on this
signage.
sign,
That's what the,
on
yeah,
this sign.
that's what the
Yeah.
sign
Signage,
says, yeah.
but-
Courts 1 through 4 may be reserved through Litchfield Pickleball Association.
But the
And-
bigger thing is it's for a longer span of
And
time,
courts,
right?
yeah.
Baseball, softball is very short. I mean, look at baseball and softball.
Space.
It's
Right.
May and June, right? You look at these courts, it could be as early as March all the way to November.
Yeah,
So it's a much bigger time span that we're looking at. That's the only reason why I bring it up.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're talking 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. or something like that. I forget what the request was.
And it's very unlikely that the LPA courts, 1 through 4, would be occupied all day long during those hours. It would be a
Right.
couple of hours, 9 to 11, and then it would be open all day. And if we're only using 2 courts, of course, anybody can play on the other
So,
courts.
so the question is, if we're gonna put a QR code there, right? Or put a second, can we link up a view of the Sign Up Genius with another QR
Our
code?
code, they zap it, good to go.
Correct.
Possibly, but with the membership, the people who are using the Sign Up Genius are members of the Litchfield LPA, and they're
Yeah.
So
logged in.
my whole thing would be, is there a view-only mode, right? That you're not a member, can you
Question.
just view it?
Not
Sure.
make changes.
Not make changes, not register, not do anything, you can just view. Not even have to say, Joe and Sally are playing, just the court's taken at
Right.
that time.
Right.
I don't know if Sign Up Genius has that capability,
I'll
but
find out. But they can certainly ask any of the members that are there playing. We can just pull it up on our phone and we can see who's signed up for the next sessions also.
Yeah, and I think if 1 through 4 are open and nobody's playing there, you can go over and use it just like you can
Yeah,
go
exactly.
kick softball.
Right.
And then I think you put in your request, and then if you guys find out a month in or a few weeks in, like, we really only need 3 courts, but we do need them from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Exactly, right.
With those adjustments can be made too.
We'll figure a lot of this out on the way
Yeah.
as we go
It's-
through
A
it.
lot of
So,
this is
yeah,
gonna be, you're gonna figure it out on the fly. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
But it goes back to the thing we've talked about forever. It'd be great if all the calendars just fed into each other.
right.
It'd be one master calendar that everybody could just go look at on the rec site. But that's another undertaking.
Let me ask this then about kind of what we want to do for reserving these courts, because, so we've got 6 great courts. 1 through 4, we really want that primarily for LPA. However, I do have a little bit of concerns that they would be kind of the ones managing the scheduling there, because I feel like, all the courts are for residents.
Right.
I wouldn't want 1 through 4 to be completely off the availability for residents that are not part of LPA, but that they would still be reservable. So looking at this, we have 5 and 6 that are just first come, first served all
Yep.
the time. They're not reservable. The other 4 courts, I'm sure LPA is going to have them almost all the time, but I feel like we'd still want to have the availability for other residents just to reserve it as well, if they were not involved at all in LPA.
So not, if they're not being used, you mean 1 through 4 always have to have a reservation?
That the reservation should come through us, I guess, for that, like,
Instead of them?
yeah, I mean, we're gonna
Yeah,
approve them
right.
for the majority of the
Yeah.
time, but I don't know about all the time. Like, as this reads, 1 through 4 are open for play of members of LPA. I mean, they should be open for all residents.
And maybe-
we're gonna
Well,
remove-
then, and then I wrote, and may be used by residents when not in use, that would be the major metal sign, when not in.
And I feel a lot of people will want to become members
Yeah,
in order
to
to
learn how to
schedule and
play.
to see
Yeah.
who they're playing against. And maybe they don't want to find 4 people to come play. They want to go on and they want to find the skill level and just come over and play with other
Well,
rec or other
what's your-
competitive.
Registration fee, $10?
It is right now.
I mean, it's the cheapest thing in
Cost
town, even
effective.
if it's $25 a year, it's the cheapest thing in town to
Yeah.
play,
We
the
are-
cheapest sport in town to
We are
play.
talking about changing that only because it's $10 for the year, but you also play $1 for each session, not each
Oh,
game,
right.
but each session.
Right.
And then that becomes just a
Somebody's gotta collect the money.
Yeah, and collecting money on the outdoor court, so we're thinking of upping the fee and not charging the dollar, upping the annual fee and not charging the
Yeah,
dollar.
and I think your annual fee's so low anyway, but
Yeah,
that's not, yeah, that makes it easier for you.
and everybody else, and nobody has to scrounge
Worry
around
about
for a
having
dollar to
Yeah.
go play.
Yes, would you envision folks that are not members of LPA being able to schedule and reserve through Sign Up Genius?
I'm not sure how that would work. I would definitely have to talk to the other board members. I know that the Sign Up Genius, that it's an undertaking to just be able to
Yeah.
maintain that.
Right.
And we maintain it, we would set up 2, one for outdoor pickleball, one for indoor. So we would have 2 Sign Up Geniuses going on, signups at the same time. I don't know how it would work to have non-members join that. I don't know how we can maintain that.
I don't know. how
The
you do that.
expectation is just how we manage the rest of the fields right now, right? So if they're reserving the courts and they can use them, if a resident or an outside entity wants to have an event there or, schedule something, they'd have to come to us, reserve it just like they would any other facility or field. And then we can give them a heads up, and I'm sure you guys will be flexible like you
Oh,
are
yeah.
now.
Oh, absolutely,
And we
yeah.
give you enough heads up notice that
Right.
somebody needs the courts
I
this
mean,
day and
it-
time.
I think he's talking about maybe 4 people heading down to just play.
The other alternative
There'll be-
is to
And not
I guess it's
knowing if
probably
it's,
just,
yeah.
Is
that'd be
to-
really hard to manage.
take 5 and 6 and make them pick a few hours during the day, random hours, like, 10 to, like, say 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Where someone may reserve it, may contact us and reserve the court. And if we're doing the whole QR code, then it can be seen if it's being reserved and not being reserved.
Oh,
But just
I see what
pick
you're
a
saying.
couple random
Okay.
hours in the middle of the day and be like, they can be reserved during this, for the rest of the time it's open. You know what I mean? You kind of don't want to mix up the schedules because, again, it's unfair to pickleball to maintain a public schedule when they're doing it for charged members, and honestly, just setting up schedules for other leagues in the past, you have enough on your plate when you're just trying to deal with the number forget about the number that may jump in and try to like add on to it.
Yeah, but if we're taking 4 courts offline, because we're basically saying LPA manages that,
Right.
I want anybody who's not
No,
a member.
it's not so much managers, it's whatever their hours they put in for, just like if soccer put in for one of the fields, Monday through Friday, 3 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 8.
Yep.
Right? If general public wants to go use those fields and kids are practicing or having a game, well, you can't. But if it's open, you can go down there
Yep.
and play. But I wasn't sure what you were getting at, but we can go online and see our other fields and see what's reserved, is what you're saying. But we won't have a way with this, is that what you're saying?
It'll just show a block,
Kinda
right?
like-
It'll be like all day reserved for LPA, and then within that, you all will have
Then
kind of
you,
the management.
you break
But
it down.
Right, but we've been flexible with
Yeah,
all the
everything.
time at Darapon, so I'm wondering too, if you had a group of 4 people that wanted to play and you wanted to make sure you could block out a time, maybe you reach out to pickleball and just say, hey, block out from 2 to 4, this group wants court number 5. And we can do that on our Sign Up Genius and just block it
Not
out.
put it in there.
Yeah, just block it out for guests or something like that. We could probably arrange it that way.
That seems like a lot of work to me, but.
Well, they have to do, you run the Sign Up Genius for 10 days max at a time, right? When I've looked at it?
Yes,
Or
8, I think.
8 days.
8 days.
They always do 8 days at a time. They never go beyond 8 days. So,
I mean, are we making a problem out of not a problem yet, right?
Yeah,
We just
that's
let
what I
it-
half
Yeah.
wonder.
Let it go
Yeah.
fly for 6 months.
Yeah.
And see
Right.
what conflicts we
Yeah,
have.
let's just see how it goes.
Now, when they come online, more people are gonna wanna go try to do
Yeah.
it. So we're gonna have to get through that little spike, right? And then see really what is the flow of it.
but I also think if people show up and see them, they're like Ron has said, if people go over to play and they are watching us and they want to know what's going on, we'll talk to them, we'll show them.
I mean,
And I think for $15 or $20 or whatever you charge for a year, nobody's gonna, say, oh no, that's too much money, and then they'll know I'll always have someone to play with. If I
Spill that
do
on the
this, I
couch.
can learn. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I get the idea behind maybe someone else would want to reserve it, but like, if they're talking about a mass reserve, like a bunch of courts at one time, but the one-offs, again, it's kind of like realistically, if the tennis courts were busy all the time and you showed up,
Yeah.
there was no way to reserve, people aren't coming here and saying, yes, I want to reserve the tennis courts from, 10 to 11 on a Saturday. They'd show up, and if there's something there, then you gotta wait until,
Done
someone
or come back
gets off the court.
I mean,
Well, it's slightly different though. Someone's gonna show up at the tennis court and say, sorry, I got it reserved now, right?
the closest comparison is the basketball courts outside of Darrett, because the
Right.
basketball league uses them during the summer, they reserve them, and any other time, anybody can go and use them.
Yeah.
So, I would envision it's just like that.
Well, I guess the difference there is you can go onto our calendar and see that,
Right.
right? This way, there's no
Well, we're
visibility.
saying
See,
we
the
don't.
pickleball is on there.
I mean,
They might not be if they're
I
not
can
there,
view
then
Sign
you
Up
can assume they're not
Genius
there.
and not be a member. Because I've done it, that's how I know, because I've held off on joining till after I don't have to vote on anything, so it's not a.
I honestly think,
Still see it.
Steve was probably on the thing, like, right now we're making a mountain out of a molehill. I think it's almost one of those where, you know, we can change, like, if we get halfway through the summer and these rules aren't working, and we have a higher demand for people saying, yeah, I wanna reserve a court or 2 courts at 10 or at 11, and it's taken away, then we revisit some of this along the way, but to try to, like, force that now without really knowing what the demands
Right.
are of the courts and everything may be premature.
It may be. I think, thinking about signage, I guess is where my head was at, as far as, if we put up here that courts 1 through 4 are only reservable through LPA, that is different than our other facilities, because we don't put that on the leagues to manage. We still have, excuse me, oversight of that. This would be different. However, there are 6 courts, so, I hear what you're saying. I think it's fine to come back to it and see how it plays out.
I think you'll find that people will want to join the
Yeah.
Litchfield Association, because, I mean, there's
think so.
clinics
Yeah.
and
And you can learn,
training
and you won't have to worry about showing up with 3 other people to
and
play.
leagues, yeah.
'Cause there'll
And-
always be
And that
someone.
helps the rec commission also, you know, because if there's a
Yeah.
money coming in, and then we can help maintain the courts and whatnot.
But I don't know, like, I think we need something like this one. Is there an extra one so Cheryl can actually have a copy of it? I think we need something like we have at all our parks.
Right.
Open dawn to dusk.
Yeah.
We had 2 D12.
Oh, no, I
The question is, do we
I had
get a real
extras.
sign? Do we do a larger one of these, laminated, put that up? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
the sign, honestly, I'm not sure how many people read the rules.
Well,
when
that's
they
why I
walk in.
wanted it
Well,
to not be
So if you put
too
like a
wordy,
sign right
like
by the
that.
gate, like a few of these around, it might be easier.
There's really no signage at any of the baseball fields, other than keep the dog off the field.
All right,
Probably about the
so
only
there-
signage we
no,
have,
And
right?
I looked up court rules, what they, like,
So
you
the
don't
one
want
rule,
cleats
don't
on
post
here, you don't want.
Yeah.
it's a
Oh, I
little
think
bit different
definitely
that
at the
you-
courts, you're gonna want something
Right.
different, but at the fields, we really don't have anything. I mean, you go on the
Right, just
on the Roy
Dara has
Memorial.
a sign, I think, because it's a
Says-
general park.
dusk to dawn.
Dusk to dawn, no pets, there's, yeah,
That's
there's a
everywhere.
few things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I really did like having like the police station phone number there, the QR code for maintenance or repairs. So somebody witnesses whatever. But when we had our signs laminated and hung at, there, somebody tore them all down with the QR
You
code.
should go metal.
Yeah.
Go to the metal ones. Matt Lepore had found a place that could do signs rather inexpensively.
I know Jay had a bunch done too, because they're
Mara
down
knows
at the
where they
river
came from.
access about,
And I knew Matt used to get a bunch done, so maybe the conservation can tell us where they go.
but we don't have to approve this one, this was just an example of you
Well, the
guys.
thing
to
is,
approve.
if we do a sign, it's gonna be this one. It's not gonna be,
Right,
No,
just
it's
like
doing a
the
metal-
many
it's
words.
something
you're not
like
doing a
this.
metal sign of this.
No.
But like, your courts 1 through 4 could be posted just so that all your members see it.
Right.
And then LPA really doesn't have to be worried about courts 5 and 6. But I find the more you have on the sign, the less likely somebody is to
Read it.
read it, but the QR codes are being used.
Those have been great. That was a great
Yeah,
idea.
and then we get an email right away instead of trying to wait until we see a comment on Facebook and say, well, we didn't even know this was an issue.
All right, so do we need to vote on this now, or?
I think, I kind of look at this as like, whatever your softball rules may,
So the policy for play, this is more internal for you guys, right?
Yeah.
How you want to manage it. The
that right?
signs that we're going to put up for safety, cleanliness, that's what our interests are, correct?
and then I think we should have either your website on there, or if a QR code can be
Yep.
created
To go to the website.
to the website. I
Right.
don't know how to do that. Who did ours?
noted that
John
was-
Brunel? Did he?
It was John. Or Jack.
I can do that, generate a QR code for our website.
And then that can be on the metal sign too, because I think you'll have people reaching out to you and checking it out.
Right. Yep, good idea.
Can we ask you then to redraft this one and come back to us at the next meeting, or send it to us?
That's mine.
That's yours? Okay.
Yeah, that was like the general
Can you
sign
send
thing that I,
I think it's good, though.
Okay.
To start, if you want to send that to Cheryl, and we could ask you to add anything you think needs to be on there. And those other items.
Sure.
bring it back
And we'd
to
want the
us.
town QR code here too.
The town QR code.
This, something about this piece
The
about,
time.
like, how, like, you know, in general.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
if you
like
play-
they have
you know,
two
if there are
grains.
people waiting, then
So
you're
if peop-
allowed.
And most signs had, if people are waiting, some had 30-minute limit, some did it by game, and some did,
Right.
you know, an hour. And I
So-
didn't put that on there because I wasn't like sure time-wise, somebody could be done a game in 15 minutes, and if they go down there, they probably want to play more than 15 minutes, so.
I mean,
I'm,
Well, let's leave it to you guys to decide what you want to put on
Yeah.
there, is like what needs to be in there, and we
Okay.
can review it.
Yeah, for the
at
time.
next meeting.
okay.
Did you get a copy of that? Okay, so your QR code would be at the bottom with
Yeah.
what our QR code was, and then how, yeah, if you look at that and write however you wanna word it, like wait time for a game and not, you know,
Where are you
like just.
referring to on that? On he-
Yeah, and here, like
It's-
any
there's
time
nothing
where it
on there.
says
It's
where,
just saying,
yeah,
come up with some verbiage that dictates if there is a wait.
oh
you
wait,
know,
how
then-
long,
Then
Okay.
you either have the courts for
But-
half an hour or 2
yeah.
games or whatever.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Similar to
preferably,
what you have in your.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
just preferably not like 4 or 5 sentences,
Yeah, so we
something
don't really
very
have a
brief.
timeline, like you said, it's more about, you play 2 games, like you,
Okay.
if you lose the game, you're off, if you win, you stay on for 1 more game. And if you're playing with people that are familiar with that sequence, then you just keep playing the next
So if
game
we
is
say
what-
maybe so what I'm saying is 4 people may show up down there, right, and just want to play each other,
Yeah,
that they went together, so a 2-game max or something, is that like about 40 minutes? Is that too long?
well, yeah, we'll look at that then.
I would say
Yeah.
2-game max. and-
Yeah, 2-game max might be,
Right, and this only comes into
is
play.
simple wordage,
What's it?
it would be simple.
What's
Yeah.
pool table etiquette?
And this only would come into play if it's crowded,
Correct.
there's lots of people
Right.
waiting. I don't
that's what it is, it's.
Yeah.
really anticipate that happening yet, right away, you know, it's
No.
gonna.
But I
gain
think you'll have
interest.
people down there watching you, and you'll gain interest, and then
Right.
the word will spread, and I think you'll grow.
Yeah.
It isn't a problem until it happens, and then it's a big problem, so.
Exactly.
All right, we good on the signage piece? So come back with that. So good. I think you just send it. I don't know if you need to come in for it. but
So if
let's
you
take a look at it.
add yours, I'll add it to mine, because I have it, and then,
Okay,
All right, so let's move to your field and facility requests.
Yeah.
So we've got one for the 10th, well, this is for the new courts that are not yet open.
yeah, so
but-
when they're open, whenever
yeah,
open.
From opening day through Halloween, 7 to 8 p.m.
Yeah. 7 to 8 PM,
That's wonderful.
and that would be for the scheduled pickleball play, skills, drills, clinics, tournaments, and that sort of thing.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Well, this is a discussion for, like, with the building of the courts, there was definitely a little bit of parking taken away from the space in between the tennis courts
Yeah.
and and
Yep.
pickleball. So, parking, either it's gonna have to be only one side parking, or you're gonna have one side parking and then like parallel parking
It's
down
gonna
the
have to
other.
be parallel because of the
On that.
space you need for the ADA access.
So basically, we should just say parking on one side.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that'd be best.
Yep. But I'll work with, Jeff Blackwell on that, because I'm working with him on getting the lines painted, and he knows what all the regulations are.
And
Yeah,
I'd say the
that's-
weekend
that's-
of Halloween Jamboree, you're gonna wanna coordinate with them,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna wanna be there.
Okay. Good to know.
I don't
There's
wanna
people
be
everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Andy has to be there and doesn't want to be there.
We're gonna have to park way down the street.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
But the pickleball's always really good about, being flexible and working with
Yeah.
other groups, so.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, passes 600. And next we have just a one-off. This is Saturday the 3rd for a member event with a food truck.
So they basically,
So that's
we
the
just
same time,
approved that
right?
time,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
the difference.
different because there's a food truck gonna be there with their others ones, there's no food. So
Do we
they,
have to approve a food truck?
no, but
I
it
think
does
so.
ask on your form,
Oh,
on the
okay.
forms, so they did a separate one for that date.
Once they have at it.
So it's your date, it's their date anyway as
Yeah.
of now, but just to know you'll have a food truck there.
Okay.
All good?
So that's the only,
What kind of food truck?
We don't know yet. We're researching. It'll just be one, though.
All right.
so I don't know if we need a separate vote for a
think
food
we
truck,
do.
but that's the one
I
date they'll
think
have it.
so.
Okay.
As long as
So
they're
then that's
licensed,
good.
then
Yeah. Not outdoors.
food truck has to be licensed by the state.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions
Do
for
we need
Cheryl?
any
What we have?
separate
Oh, they're
insurance
extending
for that?
talent hall too,
Oh,
for
sorry.
rainy, rainy days, hot days.
All right, so the request is Town Hall from now through the end of September, 7 to 4 for indoor play.
I'll make a motion to approve that request.
We have a motion,
I'll second.
a second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions, passes 600. All right.
Great.
And then I did let you guys know about the recital, we're all
Yes.
set on that.
Yeah, we
Okay.
blocked that out.
All right, thank you for coming in.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Hey, bud.
All right.
Andy, you asked me to put the.
Yeah, I just wanted,
watching- Is it Wednesday? Do I have the right date there? Is it a Wednesday night for the Scouts?
I believe
That's
it's
on
May
Mil-
17th.
So,
Okay, so
May
that-
17th, I remember voting in, but then I thought they got back to us and said, we're not gonna use it.
I thought they were using Rick Charbonneau's land.
No, it wasn't
Volunteered
enough
his-
space.
Oh, there wasn't?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So I just put this on there because I saw him this weekend. He's like,
Yeah,
hey,
no,
you know that's
I
coming up.
forgot
I'm
about
like,
it. I thought they did because I hadn't heard that they weren't gonna use it,
Got it.
so.
Yeah, because I thought they were still shooting the rockets over there, too.
Yeah. So I'll let soccer know
Awesome.
and
Is it
lacrosse.
rockets? That's what it is? They're making rockets and launching them? Is that what they
Correct.
are? Okay.
Okay,
That's
so that's
cool.
good. That's on the calendar. So that's as it was
That's
before.
next Wednesday.
I'll make people happy.
Do we want to let Ryan go?
Been a very
Looks like he's
popular
here to
thing
tell us
anyway.
something.
And
Oh,
you're
thanks.
not on Facebook to see all
Nope.
the crap.
I say
And
we
now
make
they're
it
gonna say
Looks tired, ready to go home.
we can blow up our field.
Yeah, you want to come on over? Thank you.
Just a quick update, so we can all get out of here. Fields are in good shape. We are all caught up with our crabgrass prevention. We started running irrigation last night for the first time because it's been so wet. Soil temps have still been really low. It's just been very cool. There was a hard frost this morning at Sawmill, which I couldn't believe. I was out there at 5:30 and it didn't break until almost 7. So just standing around twiddling our thumbs till that happened. The result of that is Mike can probably allude to, the traffic on Sawmill is leaps and bounds higher than any other field in town. And with these cold temperatures, grass is slow to wake up, so it's been taking a beating. I think it looks good. We've been mowing them tight to increase the playability, but we're gonna get out next week and give them an extra shot of food. And then I wanted to just get with Andy or yourself even, whenever soccer goes on break this summer, I want to get out and aerate as soon as
Yep.
possible. So,
Yeah. You know, I've tried to keep people off it when it's kind of wet, but you know,
that was going to be my closing
It caught some
statement.
backlash for it.
Sometimes the right call is the toughest call, and just thank you 10 times over for doing the right thing this
Yeah.
past week.
I mean, I moved that soccer field off that, I moved it down off that area, which is a bit dead, to, this past weekend, because it was like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna be on that, I don't wanna wear that even more, that's,
Yeah.
so we're just trying to keep things as rotating as possible, and,
Yep.
I mean,
It's helpful.
Yeah.
Sure.
The two I've been on has been Darren and Jeff Lane, and both of them are absolutely gorgeous, and people are commenting on how beautiful they look. I was at Darren tonight.
Oh, yeah,
and Every
Darren-
person
yeah,
walking by
Darren
was
looks
like,
great.
"Oh my God, this place looks beautiful."
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't get the abuse. How long have we been hosting lacrosse at Sawmill?
since the beginning.
Okay. And I mean, that's a field that you can't rotate out, so.
I've tried, you mean, honestly, because they only play in the spring, they don't play in the fall.
Yeah.
So I've tried to move them around. I actually wanted them near the parking lot this year.
Yeah.
But they expressed concern with the pavilion behind where the net would be. So I put them down there. They're back to where they were.
Sure.
It's tough. It's tough, you know, trying to fit those 3 fields in there all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point it was easier because we didn't put one of the small fields on there in the spring, but GMS is just too unpredictable to depend on for a field for travel.
Yeah.
So we have to line it in, therefore you gotta keep enough room. I have to situate it that way. There's almost no other way to do it.
Yeah. The maintenance level at GMS differs from what we do here
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
So,
slightly.
yeah. Yeah. And the topography of that field isn't exactly great for travel soccer either. It's pretty
Right.
pretty rough.
Yep.
But yeah, just wanted to communicate that that's the only issue we're seeing, and we're on it. So, and then to back up on that, the aeration techniques that we utilize are far more aggressive than what most people are used to here in town. A lot of landscape companies, they buy those little zero-turn aerators that they just ride around on, and they go down about this far, and their swath is about this wide, and they make just poke a few holes in the grass, and it works for about 2 weeks. What we're going out with, you know, we've got an investment of over 6 figures in aeration equipment. It's all golf course quality. If I can get out there, even when you're rotating out fields,
Right.
and just do sections,
Yep.
I'll let you know ahead of time.
Soccer and lacrosse this year, actually, soccer ends earlier than it has in the past. So by, I think it's pretty much the second week of June, everyone's done.
Yeah.
So,
Perfect.
I mean, again, that's probably 2 weeks earlier than normal. So I will figure out what the date is because we've, tryouts, I don't know if tryouts are after the last game this year or not, but, I'm thinking by the second weekend of June, everything will be done.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
Yeah. And then you start back up in mid-August?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple camps there, but they're just smaller camps.
All right.
So those shouldn't be, I mean, those are like a couple days here, a couple days there, and realistically, they're just gonna be somewhere on the field.
Sure.
So, I mean, honestly, the biggest problem is, and you probably see it, you put a line down, you have to put a net on that line, because as much as you tell people not to, they put the net on the line. Same thing with lacrosse. Lacrosse, I mean, if you look at the lacrosse field, it's one crease where nearest the nets is beat up, and the other ones, as you get further away from them, they're less beat up. And that's purely a practice thing. That's because if not, they'd all wear the same. But I mean, and I talked to both field coordinators for both those leagues, and it's a constant battle with the coaches.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
move, please move, and
Yeah.
you don't always get cooperation.
The other thing is that, you know, when you're 35,000 feet looking down, when you have a 5-acre complex and a parking lot off to one corner, they're naturally just gonna migrate to the closest fields to that parking lot. So if you split Sawmill in half, this half of it is just, it's beat. And
Oh, yeah.
This other half that's closer to your neighborhood is like, it's mint. So, you know, but we'll work with it.
Yeah, I mean, I try, and honestly, it's like, again, in the past, we've wanted to shut sections down and everything, but previous companies weren't as gung-ho to, you know, be like, yeah, well, we gotta figure out ways to do it, so
Yeah.
people don't go on it, because you still get a lot of activity down there where we don't control it. It's just, you know, a lot of kids like, a lot more kids than in the past, over the last couple of years, have been down there randomly on their own using it, which is great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's also, they always, again, we're gonna walk on, we're gonna stop right here and use this corner the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, there was a kid out there chipping golf balls 2 weeks ago. I'm just like, you know, there's a really nice driving range. Yeah. He was nice about it. He was very polite, so. But that's about it. And again, you know, I'll just close with, thanks for making that call last week. You've made all of our jobs a hell of a lot easier and more affordable. Yeah, you would've got destroyed. So, thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for coming in
Thanks.
for the update.
Yeah.
And as you heard, and ditto, just want to reference the amount of comments I've heard, in the discussion that's come up over the last couple of weeks here about how nice the fields are, how people are proud of it. So you're doing a great job, and people are recognizing it, so
People
thank you.
notice.
Helps us sleep better. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, so we will jump back up into the new business section. Go to Litchfield internal work order.
Yeah, we got an email from Kim about that, so we can't just contact the highway department anymore if we get down trees or anything. So that way they can keep track of the hours they're working and what they're doing. But, I happened to go down there and, they were taking down the trees that fell on the ropes course, remove those, and then they went down to the one on the beach. And that one was like huge, and they brought a piece of it up, because the thing is just unbelievable that fell there. So they did take, that's all been taken care of. There's just a lot of, cleanup for us to do with still lots of downed branches, and they're all over the beach. And I know we did a beach cleanup last year with the tractor and the rake. So they basically took out the big
Yeah.
trunk. I don't know if all you guys saw the size of that thing, but all the branches are still there, and there's still a lot around the playground that have to, and I don't know if we, anyway, if anything else comes down, we gotta use that maintenance
so
form so they can keep track.
There's more trees that have to come down at the ropes course, but the road agent didn't want to touch them until we figure out what's going to go on with the ropes course.
Right, so I can jump to that right now. So, the high school did budget for that under ropes course, old business. So they did budget for this year for insurance and,
Let me, sorry, I'm jumping around a bit. Can I ask you to hold that until we get to the next place?
yep. So, but we don't know, we'll discuss the trees at that point
Yeah,
then.
at that point. So, and the other part about the whole work order is we're trying to understand how much extra work highway department's really doing to make a case that we need another employee.
Yeah.
Because there's so many boards and commissions, and I'm probably one of the guiltiest ones, pick up the phone, hey, Kevin, can you go take care of
Right.
this? And next thing you know, he's off taking care of it. So we just want a way to collect everything that he's doing on a daily basis, so when he comes back and says, I need another employee, we can go back and look at all the hours,
It's
what's
all,
actually
yeah.
highway related, what's boards and commission related, and what he's actually doing. So just trying to get some structure around it.
Sure. So would that make sense for it to go like either through me or through you for all the requests? Just there's one point of contact for this? So like if we say, oh, we need to do this, then it's one of us, or is it just anybody?
I think anybody can go on.
Anybody, you click on the link,
Link can go in,
fill out
fill it
which
out, and
department and,
Okay.
I think we just go in and click on the link rather than say, hey, Kevin, can you go do this?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're doing. Like, this is the difference.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple of years ago too. I was like, Kevin, it's like,
yeah.
I was asking him, it wasn't even, I was asking him a question. He's like, oh, I can do that. I'll just do it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So now it's just fill
Yeah,
out the
I
form.
think if we're somewhere and we see like the down tree, we can just
Yeah.
do it right then and there, and then they have the date of the request. when-
Like I called him and asked if he had any hard pack to put down over at Parker Park. Next thing you know, he's down there doing it. I'm like,
Right.
no, we were gonna go do it. We just wanted to know, did you have any? He goes, no, it's easier if I just do
Yeah.
it. So we need a way to capture all that. Cause I'm guilty. I've been calling him
Oh, sure, yeah.
once a week, twice a week for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, he's been so helpful.
Yeah, I mean, he'll never say no to you, so.
All right, so using the form going forward. All right, thank you. All right, Steve Gann gave us his official resignation, so we now have that. Don't know that we need to vote to accept it. It looks like his term ended this year anyway,
It did.
It did.
Yeah.
so it expired.
I would only accept it if he was here in person anyways.
Who are we talking about? Dead to me. Dead to me.
We have a guy.
So that opens up a full member slot. And so we have we had interest from Chris Marr, who came here last time as a potential member, and Jeff, of course, is a alternate, thank you. And so, talking to Jeff, he was open to wherever we want to go with that, and if we want to offer it to someone new, we could do that, or certainly Jeff has been a valued part of the body as well. So, don't have to decide that tonight, but we would want to do that so we have the full voting membership filled. I'll reach it back out to Chris and just see if he has continued interest. We'll go from there. All right, so cleanup at Dara.
I just kinda talked
yeah.
about that.
Do we want to do we want to ask for a day, or do we want to try and make a
I
concerted
think we
effort to
should
get
ask
some-
for some, put it out there and pick a day and time and even ask for some town volunteers come out with their, rakes and gloves, and it's just too much for just us to do.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that, between the beach and all that area to clear. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that
The York rake on the back of the tractor will help a lot.
will help on the beach.
Beach area, that
Some
would
of them
be
will
great.
have to carry by hand though, because they're so
The
big.
bigger,
But
yeah.
last year we used the tractor,
Mm-hmm.
went out there and raked up the whole beach and got rid of a lot of garbage too that came up in the sand. So I don't know. It's just I was walking through it on them, like the playground side, the side across from it, and the beach is just. And I don't know. I don't think it's efficient to just say, well, I'll get out there and do 3 hours on one day, and somebody else, I don't know.
Pick a
what
date and
you
just.
guys want to do a day and time,
push the
and
hell
I
out
know
of
it's
it.
hard to find something where everybody can, but if we put it out there and we ask for some volunteers, we may get 5 or 6 people usually do show up to dig post holes or whatever the town needs some help with, but then we can get it done in one day and get those big
Yeah.
branches, and there's not a lot with garbage, which is nice. It's been kept pretty clean.
Well, throw out a date, and I don't think it will be a big lift. I think you're right, just advertise the hell out of it. People
Yeah.
can bring their rakes and gloves, and just whoever shows up.
Yeah, whoever shows
whatever
up,
they-
and
whatever they can get
then
done. And
I'm not running the tractor.
weekend of the 20th, it's the weekend before Memorial Day weekend, so that would be good then. I know there's, people have conflicts, I'm not asking you not to have conflicts.
Inundated in sports right now. I'm
I'm
literally
really trying
like
to think. I'm like,
all day on Saturdays and Sundays. I have
Yeah, the
games.
21st, May 21st, we're gonna have a round robin for softball down there, so it's gonna be pretty busy. We have 5 teams playing
Okay.
throughout the day. That's the Sunday, the 21st.
There's-
20th, we're probably on baseball fields and softball fields.
No, it's slammed.
Then the following weekend's Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do it then.
That's
I
probably
feel
my
that whole
best
weekend.
weekend. Do it
Yeah,
that
well,
Monday.
we're around. Jay will
that
be happy
Monday.
to have a day off from work that he can do town stuff. I'll drag him down there.
I'll talk to Jay offline about it.
Or, yeah, huh?
I'll talk to Jay offline about it. Text him and see if we can pick a day and
Okay.
get down there.
And then we'll definitely have someone who knows how to put on the attachments and run the beach and, okay.
All right, so we'll
I
leave it
mean,
to you to
okay,
run with
and
the
then
possible
whoever
dates,
can
and
make
then-
it can make it. You're not gonna be able to make it. And you didn't have,
I can make it.
you didn't have surgery today?
Tomorrow.
All right.
Good day then, okay. All right, New England Fusion softball.
So New England Fusion Softball contacted me, and they want to try to bring their program and our softball program close together. So what the New England Fusion is, it's a 14U, 16U, 18U softball league that's out of Londonderry. Historically, the majority of the Blast girls, when they age out at 12, because there's no program after that, have gone on to the Fusion. So most of the people over at the Fusion that run it and have been part of it are ex-Litchfield people, Londonderry people, and they go off and do it. They have a need for more fields, but on top of that, they also wanted to know how can we get the programs together and have it as a feeding system going into their program. So they came to me and they said, hey, what we'd love to do if you allow us to use your fields for some tournaments, we're willing to buy temporary fencing and give it to Litchfield Girls Softball, that you guys will have temporary fencing, and we can go down and use it. On top of that, we'll run clinics in the summer and the winter for softball, bring down the 14, 16, and 18s to run clinics all the way through it. On top of that, we could open up the concession stand, we as softball, we as in rec or whatever, and we'd get all the proceeds from it when they go and do it. So that's kind of that's what they brought forth. They would take care of all the porta potties, they would take care of maintaining all the field, lining all the fields for the tournaments. So there is a percentage of the girls, I don't know the exact number, from Litchfield that do participate for the Fusion program. So they have dates of June 17th and 18th, the 29th to the 2nd, July 14th, 16th, 21, 23. It's all in the email I sent to everybody. If we allowed them to go do it, the biggest thing is to put the temporary fencing out, they gotta put plugs in the ground. Now, I wouldn't want them digging anywhere out there if Ryan Lane wasn't there. I'd rather have Ryan put all the plugs in. And that temporary fencing could go up and down after every game. It'd be easier if you could keep it up to August 1st.
Yep.
First weekend of August, take it down, then it's a multi-use field again. So, I mean, there's a huge upside, I think, for Litchfield girls softball as a rec program. I think it's a way of feeding back into the town and growing softball in general, especially when you're bringing these older girls in. Girls tend to resonate more, when they're taught by 14, 16, and 18s.
So I was coaching, just a little history, I was a blast coach
Mhm.
when Fusion started, and it was a Litchfield Londonderry combined program, because neither of the towns had enough to have their own 14U program, and we had strong softball programs, and after 12U, they had nowhere local to go, or no local team to play up. So, Litchfield and Londonderry got together, they formed the Fusion as a combination of the two, so they did play under LGSL, and I believe they were under LAFA also
also,
in
yep.
Londonderry. And I believe there were practices here in Litchfield and in Londonderry.
Over at Latho.
Yep, so I would like to see it come back because it did initiate here. And some of our 12U blast coaches went on to take on the coaching positions to create that program, but Litchfield couldn't create a 14U, 16U on its own. So that's a little history about that and how it all moved to Londonderry or what happened after that. I don't know, but I do know it did initiate here with an even split of Litchfield, Londonderry, and it was I don't know if they were New England Fusion or if they were New Hampshire Fusion, but it was
There was something,
Fusion.
they're in New England now, but there was something as
But
the
it was,
progression
yeah,
went
the
on.
Fusion, and it gave those girls moving up from Londonderry and Litchfield that wanted to continue playing a place to play, because neither of us could support it on our own. So,
Yeah, so they're at the point now they want to start giving back to the program that helped start them.
and it gives our girls something visible to see to move on, which we don't have right now.
We really don't. And the more you integrate the program, it's going to be an easy transition
Yeah.
from one up to the other one. And, our biggest thing is hoping to get enough younger girls now wanting to come back and play when you have these summer clinics, winter clinics, not held by grumpy people like us, right, but held by girls that they go and they look up to.
Sure. So it sounds like, it's an organization we know and trust as far as quality of the fields. It would just be the use of the fields is the only, downside is just a little bit of wear and tear on the fields, but you get something in return.
Truthfully, the fields are better when they're used.
Yeah.
Especially the infields.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
more you use those infields,
Yeah.
the better it is.
There used to be plugs in that outfield.
Oh, did they?
They're probably somewhere still there. They're just years ago. Like, we're talking, I think the last time I visibly saw them was 5 years ago.
Okay. Because I know they used the snow fencing the last couple times.
Yeah, but there were plugs out there.
Yeah.
I remember when I first lined Dara in the fall for LMS soccer one year, they were out there.
Yeah.
And that was like 6 years ago now.
We used to
Time
put 'em up
flies.
for blast tournaments, but I don't remember how we
But
put them up or what
I don't
was
know. I
there.
mean,
They're-
you're not going to be
they're
able to
really
flip through
visible.
the-
They're like
you're
a
not-
visible plug. They're easy
You're
to
not going to
find.
be able
Put
to
'em in.
find them now. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that they were out there at one point. So, I don't know when if Ryan's out there and you map it, they might run into a few.
Yeah, and they'd only want to do it to the 12U and 10U field, not to the one way in the back. Because they want to be able to get at least 200 feet down each foul line, and it comes pretty close. But when you take the fence down, it's easy to mow around. You can mow around the poles, you can mow around everything. So I don't think it's going to be a hassle for Ryan. It's something I'd want to talk to him about.
Yep.
Just to see
Well,
what
no,
it does to him from a
honestly,
maintenance
we have the markers at Sawmill. We have the markers at Innis, the field markers that lie flat, and that's basically what they are. They're the same thing.
Are they PVC or are they metal? Because if they're
PVC.
metal, they're PVC.
They're PVC.
So if they're-
And there'll be caps. You'll have caps you can put on them, in the holes where
Yep.
the holes go. So, honestly, I don't know which ones they'll buy or whatever, but nowadays, it's probably safer to buy the ones with the caps with the little tufts that come out so you can see them. Because, again, Sawmill's the worst one. Sawmill, if we aren't digging them up every week or every other week, we lose them, and then you gotta go hunting for them in the fall or the spring or whenever.
And we end up with the temporary fencing, they're going to give it to us. So it's be our fencing as a town.
So do we need them to submit like a field request?
That, I
for
figured
those?
we'd have this discussion first, and then we could do the whole field request and everything. No use going through it if it's something that, as a board, you know, we didn't, as a commission, we didn't want to go do.
So do we have consensus that we are on board with this? Any concerns?
I'm fine with it.
All right, sounds like they're good to
Okay.
move ahead with that. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
All right, jumping back down now to field and facility requests, just the one that came in today regarding Dara, I assume all three fields for a senior day, Tuesday, June 2nd, which we believe is for the CHS seniors. Although we're not 100% sure.
It is, with the name that came in, Don Parker. it's
Okay, I didn't know the
definitely
name. I
definitely for
thought
the
somebody
seniors.
was hosting something for
Yeah.
senior citizens, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
No, it's,
So as I said earlier, they did this last year too.
which is why it's strange that that was the way she asked instead of like a request, because
Yeah.
last year, if I remember, it was, she actually like
Filled out
submitted
the
a
whole request and
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
So I can certainly ask her to fill out a form, but.
It's, I mean, it's.
Yeah, I mean.
It doesn't matter really, it's like, yeah.